vet the person that you want to coach you. I thought that I would be like a songwriter. I never saw myself as a coach. I was good at helping people pick a business model that they might want to try. This is actually what I do to establish certain success. Investing in yourself doesn't feel comfortable. You just don't feel like doing that work. You cannot have a miserable home life and have a successful business life. I'm just not really willing to compromise any of my values for any dollar amount. Welcome to another episode of Full Transparency with Donnie Wiggins. I am Donnie Wiggins, your favorite business coach, their favorite business coach. I'm my own favorite business coach, you guys. And today we are back for another solo episode. And you know, in these solo episodes, I like to talk business. I like to talk life. I like to talk all kinds of stuff. And today I asked my community to drop some questions that they wanted me to answer inside the podcast. So we're live right here. Let me first start off by telling y'all what the heck is going on. So I got a lot going on. I just spoke at an event called WebinarCon, right? I was one of the speakers at WebinarCon. And anytime I go to events like this, where I am in a room full of other super successful, high performing business owners, I get so inspired to come back, Zell, and just like really go ham on business, right? Like now I'm like inspired to do things in a bigger, more grand way than I was doing them before. And so this is me being back on my stuff. Can I be honest? Like this is me being back on my stuff. So let me tell y'all what I'm doing. The top of the year, I started off doing a lot of vlogs on Instagram, and I just kind of didn't feel like doing it anymore, but they were working. They were helping people understand me more, my train of thought more, why I teach and believe the way that I teach and believe. And then I just stopped because I am a person who, if I don't want to do it, I'm just not going to do it. And I really don't want to do it. But again, I just left WebinarCon. So I'm pumped up and I'm ready to do things bigger because, can I be transparent with y'all real quick? I had a goal to generate $10 million this year. I had a goal to generate $10 million this year. And if I'm being totally honest, I'm just not even close. I am not even close, and I can't be mad at myself because I honestly didn't even try, right? Like I thought I tried, like I was telling myself that I was doing things in my head that was a try, but I wasn't trying. I was really like, I know that I'm going to make 7 figures no matter what, right? I just know. I know my business. I know what's going to happen. And sometimes you can get comfortable at a number, or sometimes you can get comfortable not even at a number. I'm not comfortable at the number, but every now and then, plenty of times this year, I was getting comfortable at the output that I was doing. I was getting comfortable with the output that I was doing. Like I really had things under control with how much I had to show up, with how much, Zell, I'm gonna get you, because what we doing? I got you. All right. Like I'm getting comfortable with how much I have to show up to get a certain result. And when I go to events, this is why it's so important. And I'm always talking about going to events, not just because I be wanting you to come to mine. That's not the only reason. It's because this is actually what I do to establish certain success for myself. I go to this event. I speak at this event, but I'm also a student at this event. I've got pages and pages and pages and pages of notes from this event that has really turned me up a notch. And I have decided and committed that starting now, not starting in 2025, not starting next year, starting right now, I am going to start doing the work that's required to become the $10 million in 1 year, Donnie. Okay, we're not talking about what I've earned cumulatively and all those things. I'm talking about $10 million in 1 year. And if I'm being honest, I truthfully don't believe that's hard to do. I don't believe that's hard to do. You just have to have a certain type of ethic and strategy and systems. And it requires a lot of work on the back end that most CEOs, once you get to a certain level of performance, you just don't feel like doing that work. You don't feel like figuring that part out, right? So anywho, that brings us to this. I'm on Instagram Live right now because I said, you see me there? You can see me in my phone. Like y'all are looking at me. I'm looking at you. So I'm monitoring the Instagram Live because today I'm taking questions from the community to answer on this podcast. On this phone, I am actually vlogging. You see my camera is on. This is the studio, yada, 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 yada. So I'm capturing certain things vlogging, but I also have to capture YouTube kind of format as well. So on this phone, I'm capturing like Instagram stuff where you hold the phone vertically. But on my Osmo, I've got the camera set horizontally, and the stuff that I capture here goes on YouTube. Y'all, it's a lot. First of all, what are we doing here, Zal? What are we doing here? I'm putting something down. I think we got enough behind the scenes for today. Yes, I think, let me put this down before I break something, kill some batteries, because I still have a whole day. Let's get to the podcast. All right, so I'm ready to answer some questions today. Let me go back to this post where I said I will answer some questions from the audience. And then if you're watching me live right now on Instagram or from any of the communities, please use the question feature. Please use the question feature. Please use the question feature on the live, because it's going to be difficult for me to scroll up and keep up with you guys' questions. Okay. All right. So let's see what we have. First question, how do you make new friendships as an adult? I'm really reading this from Instagram. I think you can kind of see it. I don't know. Maybe you can't. Can you see it here? There you go. Okay. I'm really reading these questions from Instagram. So I want you to know this is not stuff that I'm making up. Y'all asked me. How do you make new friendships as an adult? Okay. Before I start answering these questions, let me first say that I am only qualified to give you advice based on my own experiences or experiences that I've helped my clients and friends and just real life, things that have happened. Okay. So there is always more than one way to skin a cat. I'm going to answer these questions from my perspective. How do you make new friendships as an adult? I can put my hand down, I guess. I look mad crazy right now. Okay. So for me, I make friends by going into environments of the type of people that I would want to be friends with at this stage in life. I believe when you're younger, you have more flexibility to have all kinds of friends, right? People who are doing tremendously different things with their lives. And that probably can remain true no matter what age you are. But where I am in life, it's really important for me, I believe, to have friendships that are aligned. And so that said, I go into places where those type of people are. So I generally make friends at networking events where I'm familiar with people who introduce me to other people that I may be interested in getting to know. I attend professional conferences. I attend plenty of professional conferences, and I usually always connect with somebody there. I go into places like conferences. I'm always going to meet somebody there. I was saying earlier that I always encourage you guys to attend a conference. Shameless plug. David and I have the My First Million conference coming up in Atlanta, Georgia, December 12th. If you don't know about it, if you've been under a rock, in 2025, our goal is to help at least 50. I believe we can do 100. Zell. I'm ready to cut you. I believe we can help 100. It kills my vibe, Zell. I believe we can help 100 people make $1 million or get their businesses on track for a real $1 million in 2025, right? And let me tell you what I mean by that. I have at this point coached hundreds of entrepreneurs. I am mentor to tens of thousands of people. I've mentored tens of thousands of entrepreneurs, but I have personally one-on-one coached hundreds of entrepreneurs at this point, right? Couple hundred, not high hundreds. I selectively take one-on-one clients, and I have helped a significant number of those entrepreneurs make 7 figures, and way more than that, earn 6 figures. And I believe that I have been able to identify when I work with a client, or when someone comes to me and says, hey, I'm interested in being a client, and I take them through this process of figuring out if we're a good fit, I know right away, if they have the ability to make 7 figures, I know right away if I have the ability to help them get there in a faster time frame. First of all, I got to shout out Shout out to Cordarius Green. You guys know him as Cord in the Kitchen. I'm going to put it on Instagram. By the time this episode drops on YouTube, it will already be on Instagram. As of yesterday, he's my client. He's been my client for 3.5 years. He is now a 7-figure business from his cookbooks. He has sold 7 figures worth of cookbooks. The exact number was $1.16 million in cookbooks, and that was as of yesterday. And I got to put this whole post together. I got to go through my old content and find like some content of us from the beginning and put that together. But Cord, I want to shout you out because you work so hard. When I tell you that you are one of my favorites who literally, you don't ask any questions other than what's the play, Donnie? What's the next step? What do I do next? What do you think about this? Here's how I did it. What do you think? Did I do it right? Cordarius literally, Zell, listens to every single thing that I suggest that he does. And even if it's uncomfortable for him, Cord, you execute every single step. So congratulations to you for being a brand new 7-figure business owner. I am so proud of you. We are going to celebrate it soon, and the post is coming, so it'll be there. Hey, entrepreneur, are you looking for mentorship? Do you ever watch me here on the Social Proof podcast or on Full Transparency and say, you know what? One day I want to work with Donnie. Great news. You absolutely can. Join me inside my community, Actionable CEO, where we help to develop new habits, grow you personally, professionally, and financially, help you take massive action in your business, ultimately helping you make more money. It's just $97 a month. We meet every single week. We have a book club. We do live co-working sessions. When I'm in your city, you guys get to connect with me in person and so much more. Don't take my word for it. Go over to actionableceo.com. Check out the page and see if it's a good fit for you. If so, I'll see you on the inside. Anyway, back to you though. When I work with entrepreneurs, I know right away if I have the ability to help you generate 7 figures, like Cordarius Green, who I just talked about. He didn't even come to me as a potential client himself. What happened was he was watching the podcast. He was watching the Social Proof podcast, and he shared with his girlfriend at that time, who's now his fiance, but he shared with his girlfriend that he really resonated with the way that I taught business and the way that I helped people. And she called me. She scheduled a call with my team, and she was able to get me on the phone. And she said, Donnie, I want to gift this. I want to gift him 1 month of coaching. I want to gift him 1 month of coaching with you, and he'll have to figure it out from that point, right? He was becoming popular on Instagram. He was becoming popular on social media, getting all of this attention for cooking, these fantastic recipes, putting these fantastic recipes on the internet, and people are following him for that. They are following him for the free recipes and cooking his meals, but the brand is making $0, not a single dollar. This was 3.5 years ago, not a single dollar. And she said, listen, I believe in him. I believe that he has what it takes to be successful. And I believe that he has what it takes to be successful in this particular industry that he loves, which is food service. And so because of her level of belief in him, I said, okay, I'll work with him for 1 month. I'll at least get him on the right track to start monetizing this attention that he's getting. I'll work with him for a month. And so when he found out that she hired me for 1 month to be his coach, Cord was so excited. He was so excited. He was so happy. He was in disbelief that she would make that type of investment, okay, into his brand when that brand wasn't generating any money. I think Cord was working at the time in the insurance field. Anywho, he was just blown away. And he came in and he told her and he told me, I'm going to make this investment worth it. And you're going to want to work with me after this month expires, because the agreement was that I would just work with him for that month, right? Cord comes in. I revamp, the way he's getting the attention and the things that he was trying to offer. And we instantly start making a couple dollars. In that first month, we making a couple of dollars. He making a couple of bucks, right? But we knew that we had to turn this up a notch. The reason that I continued to work with Cord was because he was coachable, he was teachable, He was determined. He's resilient. He doesn't take no for an answer. And he's an action taker. He's an action taker. That mattered to me more than anything else. And he came into my coaching environment at a time where I had the capacity to take on a challenge. Because at that time, I wasn't working with brand new entrepreneurs in a one-on-one capacity. To work with brand new entrepreneurs in a one-on-one capacity, you have to be a part of my mentorship community, Actionable CEO. You can check that out at actionableceo.com. So all the pieces just kind of played out. He made enough money that first month to rehire me the second month. And I said, all right, Corey, we're going to take this month by month. We're going to put you on a month to month and just see how this goes. If at any time this investment becomes overwhelming for you, right? Based on where you are in business, you're set up. I gave you all the tools that you need to be successful. He's like, nah, I can't let this go. You're my coach. Every single month, Cord began to make more and more and more and more and more money, to the point where then it became a piece of cake to continue to invest in coaching, to now pay for all of his responsibilities, as a full-time entrepreneur, to grow his following. I think at that time from like 300,000 people to well over 1 million followers and supporters that he has on Instagram right now, to go from a business, or not even a business. He didn't even have a business. We had to get everything together that was generating $0 in revenue annually, to now in 3 years generating more than $1 million in revenue. It's insane. It's insane. And now the goal will be for him to make $1 million in 1 year, in a 12-month time frame, right? That's our next goal. And he wouldn't mind me sharing this. He likes to hear this stuff because it's a reminder of how far he came in such a quick time frame. If somebody would have told you that based on who you are today, that you could have generated 7 figures in sales in 3 years, would you say, no, that's too long? Would you say, no, I don't believe it? Would you say, no, I got to do it in a month? Oh, that's not worth it. See, for him, it didn't matter how long it took, as long as we were consistently making progress, as long as we were consistently growing, as long as he was consistently learning, consistently having new wins. And that's exactly what was happening. And so I know I got a little bit off of the question. We were talking about how to get a friend, but this is really how to get a coach. Number one, how to get a coach. Number one, vet the person that you want to coach you. Don't just consider people's experience. Also consider not even just their professional experience. Also consider, is there an angle that you personally resonate with them at, right? Is there something about them that just really sizzles in your spirit? For Cord and for his girlfriend, Irene, I sizzled in their spirit. The way that I delivered the message, the way that I articulate, the way that I'm firm. See, he's a man's man. He's a man's man. And for someone like him, he could only work with someone who wasn't afraid to hold him accountable. So especially choosing a woman to be his coach, he appreciated, and she appreciated the fact that I have a firm hand when it comes to my clients, because we're here to have fun and make money, but we can't forget that we're here to do both, right? So he resonated with me. Someone who has already done what you are trying to do, or has already helped other people do what you're trying to do. And I put that or in there, and that's a strong one for me, because personally for me, I was coaching people to earn 7 figures before I ever made 7 figures. I've been a business coach since 2012. Since 2012, I've been coaching. When it started, I was coaching people when it started, I didn't even realize this was a business. I didn't even understand that this was a business. I was literally just on social media and had attention, and I was good at helping people pick a business model that they might want to try. I didn't even have the business model inked in myself. My own coaching practice wasn't established. It wasn't LLC. It wasn't, registered with the Secretary of State. There was no trademark for it. None of those things was happening. Meanwhile, I was helping other people do something that I hadn't already done in this space. Now, I had been a business owner before. I owned clothing stores and I had a luxury concierge company and a property management company. So because of that experience, I knew how to tell other people how to get their stuff done. But I didn't know that what I was doing was coaching them. Coaching was never a goal of mine. It was never like I never saw myself as a coach. Like when I made my vision board, it was never coaching people. I only wanted a clothing store. I wanted to pull up to my brick and mortar boutique, see my name in lights, and sell people fashion. That's what I wanted to do. My second, or I wanted to do music, something in the music industry. I thought that I would be like a songwriter who owned a chain of clothing stores. I used to, back in the day, dress like a lot of producers and things that would get them ready for the Grammys and all kinds of stuff. So I'm like, okay, this makes sense. This is aligned. I will be a Grammy winning songwriter and I own clothing stores and all the stars are going to come to me to get dressed and they're going to come to me for their next hit. That's how I saw it in my head. But when that wasn't really making money, I joined a company in the industry of network marketing, which then, because I speak well and I can articulate a thought and I understand business, I was able to be a leader in that space. So I'm coaching people without really knowing that I'm coaching people. And in network marketing, I didn't get directly paid for coaching. So again, it's still not registering for me that people get paid for this. In fact, in network marketing, I had a coach, but I didn't pay him for coaching directly. I paid the company to be a part of the company. And because I was on his team, it was his responsibility to coach me. So I didn't even realize that this was something you could get paid for. The idea of getting paid for this it's still mind blowing that I just know how to do stuff and people pay me to share what I know how to do. Like, I would do this for free if I could live my life doing it for free. I have to get paid because now I do this full time and I have to make a living. You get what I'm saying? Y'all feel me? You feel what I'm saying? Anywho, so I didn't have coaching on the agenda. I didn't know that you could get paid for it. Back to you and picking it. You want somebody who, so I say that to say, when I said someone who actually has the experience or has helped other people achieve the experience or the goal, it's because when I started in this space, I didn't even have my own coaching business started. So I was telling people what I knew to do based off of an old business that I had, right? Fast forward. When I started making money as a coach, before I made six figures, I had a guy that I worked with. One of the first six-figure stories that I can remember, may not be the first that I had, but one of the first that I can remember, someone outside of network marketing that was just a traditional entrepreneur. I helped him structure his business and get his systems in place and his processes in place. I helped him hire someone who could relieve him of some of the duty and the workload. And as a result of those things, he went on to make six figures. Well, I had not yet made six figures. And so then it happened again. And then it happened with another client. And I remember saying, wait a minute, I'm helping routinely now. People make all this money. But I'm still low-key kind of struggling. I still can't figure out getting to six figures. And I spoke to a coach who had a successful online business. And they looked at my business and they said, oh, the only thing that I see wrong here is that you're not charging enough. So then I changed my prices. And I already had the confidence to ask for the price. I've been a salesperson my whole adult life, right? I've been in sales. Every job that I've had was in sales. So it was no problem. I just didn't know I could charge that much. So my prices for reference started at like $97 a month. Could you imagine getting a Donnie Wiggins coaching you in your business for $97 a month? One-on-one? Could you imagine having me working with you as your business coach for $97 a month? Okay, so we don't do that anymore today. I can't work with you one-on-one today, but that's also the reason why my Actionable CEO program, my mentorship community, is $97 a month. I took it back to my beginnings. People don't know that. The number is $97 a month because $97 a month is where I started. And while I no longer have the capacity to work with people on a one-on-one level for $97 a month, I wanted people to have a real opportunity to work with me. So I took it back to the beginning, and you can still get coaching and you can still get mentorship. It just has to be in the group for that same $97 a month. It's a reason for all of this stuff, y'all. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. All right. So now that I've raised my prices, I will go on later and make my own six figures, right? And now that I'm making six figures, my lifestyle's changing a little bit. Now I've become a person who understands business on a little deeper, a lot deeper, in fact. And so now I can help people in larger capacities. So I began to attract other entrepreneurs, higher level entrepreneurs, people who now aren't just like, aren't juggling a job and their business. Now I'm starting to attract people who are full-time entrepreneurs. They're making, by themselves $50,000 a year, $75,000 a year, even $100,000 plus dollars a year. And they have higher level concerns. And as I'm like determined, I'm very honest with people, even with my one-on-one clients to this day who hire me. I'll say, okay, let's go through 3 to 5 goals that you want to accomplish as a result of this relationship, this coaching client relationship, or this consulting client relationship. And I am so honest with people. I'll say, yes, we can definitely do these things here. This is not in my wheelhouse, but I'd like for it to be in my wheelhouse. This one we can figure out together. I know I can help you with this and this, but this one we can figure out together. And the reason I do that is because when I started, I did a whole lot of figuring things out along the way, right? I am very into the details. I am very into research. Many of you don't know that I have a very analytical brain because my favorite subjects in school were English, math, and science. I went to college, though I didn't graduate. I went to college for 3 years for chemical engineering. I am a trained critical thinker. So when you present something to me that I don't understand, my mind says figure it out, which why one of my favorite affirmations ever, the one that's on my nightstand that I see first thing every single morning, is I believe in my ability to figure it out. Because between my formal education in school and my dad teaching me, my dad was a career engineer. So I have a very, very analytical and technical upbringing. That's why I'm so into the details. The details matter because in engineering, if you put one wire in the wrong place, the whole project is a fail. In chemical engineering, if I pour a little too much, like if it's supposed to be 0.5 milliliters and I do 0.55, the whole formula is off balance, right? I am a trained critical thinker. I am a trained observer. This is why I'm really good at what I do. I pay attention to the details. I don't let us get lost in the details. We address the details, right? So as I'm going through this and I'm able to demonstrate and bring on clients that, no, I don't know how to do that just yet, but if it's okay with you, we can figure it out together. I'm sure that even though I don't know how to do this right now, I am sure that you're going to achieve the result faster with me on your team because I have the ability to think and I have the ability to figure things out at a level that is unbelievable. And that's just the truth. It's my gift. It's what I'm gifted at, right? And so then I was able to help people on a deeper level. I'm now able to help them do more and more and more. And now I'm helping people hit $250,000. Now I'm helping people hit $500,000. And I'm still like a six-figure earn, like I'm still at like 100,000, 150, and then I'm at like 200. But I'm not making near the money at that time that my clients were making. Not near the money. And so when you're picking your coach, it's someone who has the experience demonstrated through their own success or the demonstration of experience and success in other people. Think about it. When corporations bring in these professional trainers, essentially coaches, right? You go and train for a Fortune 500. They're bringing you in and they want you to teach, their team building. They want you to teach critical thinking skills. They want you to teach time management. They're not hiring someone, a consultant, because that consultant made way more money than their company has made. They're hiring somebody who has the expert skill set to come in and impact their organization because they've done it with other companies, right? That person might not even have an actual business with a large team of people that they're training, but their specialty is going into these other organizations, these other companies, and teaching time management, teaching team building, teaching organization, teaching, practical thinking and critical thinking. And that might be their talent, their skill set. So you're looking for somebody who has the demonstrated experience or demonstrated experience with other people that they've worked with. You also want someone who is aligned potentially in core values, because it's really difficult. I've had to offboard several clients, or not several, but I've had to offboard a couple of clients in the years that I've been a coach because our core values just don't align. Like in business, I like what you represent, but unfortunately we work in a space where I can see your whole life or what you portray on social media, and I don't really rock with it. You know what I mean? I remember the first time I had to exercise core values. Oh my God, Zell. I struggled with this, right? Because people say that business is business and personal is personal. And knowing what I know about business is very personal. But you have to have emotional intelligence, right? So while business does impact us personally, how we respond to how we feel about it personally means everything. And I remember having this client years ago, really nice looking guy, very successful, beautiful family. And I had to meet him in another state. He was preparing for a project and I was assisting him with this project. And I met him in another state. And when we got there, he introduced me to another woman. And this was not his wife. And I had built a relationship with his wife because she'd always come like on the Zoom calls and, things like that. So we're cool. This isn't anybody that, I don't have a relationship with. And so when I realized that this wasn't a person who was also a part of the project, she was there for him, that I was uncomfortable the whole time. Like, don't ever put me in a situation like that. Whatever you do in your private life is your business. But once you bring that private chaos into my environment, now it becomes our business, and I'm just not okay with it. And so I finished the project with him, and I told him that I wouldn't be able to work with him any further because the whole brand that we had built included him being this outstanding family guy. Like, his brand included, like, he got the attention that he got and the audience that he got and the sales that he got because people loved and just really admired who he was as a family man. And then to show me in my face, like, I wouldn't care that these things are not true. This is a facade. I couldn't keep up with the facade. So I would say find someone whose core values, whose major deal breaker core values for you align. Also find someone who is in your price bracket. Listen, you don't have to start off with the highest level coach if you don't have highest level issues in your business, right? You can grow to that point. You can grow to the point where you're solving the smaller problems that will bring in more revenue for you. And then you solve some more small problems and it will bring in more revenue for you. And then more small problems bring in more revenue for you until ultimately you get to the point where you can hire whoever you want to hire. But even though I believe in investing in yourself, and I even believe in sacrificing to make these investments, I believe that sometimes investing in yourself doesn't feel comfortable, right? It's not comfortable for you. Sometimes I believe it's a stretch. Sometimes you might have to borrow a couple bucks to make things happen, right? Sometimes you may have to delay spending elsewhere in order to invest in something that's going to pay off big so you can come back and get this later. Sometimes that might be the truth. But at the end of the day, I still say prioritize your livelihood and your necessities first. Though I have heard many stories and I have had several clients who did things like that I found out about later, skipped a month's payment on their mortgage, skipped paying something important. I would never tell anybody to do that. I didn't know. And I wouldn't even take you on as a client if you told me that you were doing that, because coaching just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. Like, you skip paying on your mortgage this month. There are no guarantees that by next month you're going to be able to stay in coaching, grow your business, and catch up on those bills that you skipped out on because you invested in coaching, right? So you'll hear people tell you different things. You have to do what you want to do. You have to do what feels right to you. And that's going to be the last piece in terms of finding a coach, someone who feels right to you and is aligned in goals. So I am a sustainable business coach. I'm a holistic business coach. So I see in the Instagram comments, somebody is saying something like, well, that was a test and yada, 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 yada. And no, it wasn't a test. If it was a test for anything, it may have been God testing me to see how much of my core values I was willing to compromise in order to have this high level client. And I'm just not really willing to compromise any of my values for any dollar amount. I'm just not. So for me, because this man was a family man who built a brand, he's no longer in this business, so y'all will never figure out who I'm talking about. And this was way before my time on Instagram. Because this person because I was a part of this person building his business based on this family persona, it was highly inconsiderate to me, highly inconsiderate of him to expose me to this other woman. That just didn't sizzle in my spirit. I cannot do it. I cannot ever go back to your family dynamic and look at y'all the same way anymore. You're just not going to play in my face, and you're not going to use me to play in her face. Like, you're not going to use me to help you blow up in this area when you're failing significantly in this area. I am a holistic business coach. I coach people who are on a path or on a journey to becoming their best selves, not just on a journey to making the most money. All of my clients will tell you. All of my clients, I'm in your business. What's going on over here? I just saw your wife walk past the screen and she looks like she's annoyed with the fact that you're on a call today. Were y'all in an intense conversation? Handle that first, because you cannot have a miserable home life and have a successful business life. And I need you to catch that. You can't have a miserable home life and a successful business life. You can only do that if success is only determined by how much money you make. And for me, that's not my definition of success. Not just how much money you make. Okay? That's not the definition of success. So you know how to find a business coach now. All right, let's get it. Okay. Not a business question, but what can someone do to keep their soul and integrity intact every day? The energies of this world have become immensely dense, heavy, and extremely chaotic. Everyone is on edge. What can one do to combat the heaviness and quiet all the loud noise, even if you have your life together financially? Also, thank you for being you. You actually inspire me. Mind Elevated 7. Thank you for this question. I love it. And the first question, how do you make new friendships as an adult, came from I am Dr. Courtney. Okay, Mind Elevated 7. I love this question. So again, I can share with you what I do. Not a business question, but what can someone do to keep their soul and integrity intact? So I personally, I had this same question. I had this same experience. I went through a season of being financially straight, right? Making enough money. And even before I became a 7-figure earner, like, high level 6 figures was enough money for me to do what I had to do. I'm gonna just be honest. Like, hitting 7 figures started out as a vanity metric for me. I just wanted to do it because I knew I could. So if I know I can do it, I'm gonna do it. Right? But there came a time where it it just didn't feel the way that I thought it would feel. It didn't feel the way I thought it would feel. Money doesn't solve any problems, and money highlights how much money doesn't solve problems. So you can fall into this space. You can fall into this space of feeling like you have to fight to keep your integrity and your soul intact, because as you are on this journey of becoming more and more and more successful, you will be presented with opportunities that are so out of alignment for you. They just don't align at all. But because they come with a huge financial payoff, you will feel a draw to these opportunities. You'll say yes to some stuff that you didn't have any business saying yes to. We've all done it. And then after the fact, you'll say, that wasn't even worth it. Like, it wasn't even worth the time that I put in it, the investment that I had to put in it, the brain cells that I wasted on it. It just wasn't even worth it, right? And so I'm going to go back to what I always say, and that is establish your core values. Establish your core values. Be very, very clear on what your non-negotiables are and how you need to live your life. Be very, very clear on what your life's non-negotiables are, not as it just relates to other people, but who you are. You got to have a clear understanding of who you are and what is non-negotiable for you. Also, what is required for you. What are your boundaries? What are the things that absolutely matter? What are the things that are representative of you as a person, right? Of you as a person. So for me, two of my top core values are integrity and consideration, right? I pride myself on being a person of integrity, making integrity-based decisions. I pride myself on being a considerate person, considering how my decisions impact other people, considering how other people that I really care about will feel about my decisions. I've been this way for as long as I can remember, long before I was a successful business person. That's just innately who I am, right? And then you have things like, honesty and trust and loyalty and all those things. You can Google a list of core values if you're unsure, and pick ones that really resonate with who you are naturally. And then also add a few of core values that represent who you want to be, who you want to become. Because there are some values that you have to grow as a person before you can even demonstrate these values or own them, right? So that's one. When you have core values, you'll start to unfollow certain social media accounts. You'll start to feel differently about people that you're admiring right now. You'll start to look at how you're making money in a different light. You'll start to look at the opportunities that you're saying yes to differently. You'll start to choose places that you're going to differently. You'll eat differently. You'll dress differently. You'll make decisions differently. You'll parent differently. You'll love somebody differently when you understand what your core values are. Okay? In addition to that, nothing trumps building your spiritual muscle. That's what I like to call it. We're in the gym. We're working our physical muscles. We're reading books. We're working our mental muscle, right? We're falling in love. We're working our heart muscle. But we also have to build our spiritual muscle. Get to know God on a deeper level. Get to understand his word. Get to understand how he fits into your life, because you have to be intentional about making sure that God is actually being fit into your life, not just around us, not just in us, but you're intentionally spending time, intentionally fitting him in. And you have to be intentional about learning what God wants for you, what he said about you, what he promised you, what he said you are, what he said you are, what he wants for you, what his purpose is for you. You got to get really, really clear on that. And that might take some trial and error. That might take some mishaps. That might take some wins and some losses. That might take some time. That might take some years, right? But you can't ignore it. The only way to get to it is to get through it. And you have to go through those trials. You have to make those mistakes. You have to make those errors. You have to try a whole bunch of stuff to determine what feels good in here, what feels good on a soul level, what feels good on a cellular level, what makes you believe that God is smiling down and he's proud of the work that you're doing. You have to work on your spiritual muscle. You got to build that spiritual muscle up. When you've got that those core values and that spiritual muscle built up, you become unstoppable. It's tough to penetrate somebody like that. People say disgusting things about me on the internet every single day, the most unfounded things. And I don't know why. I don't know why. It generally comes from a certain type of individual who's mad that I am loved the way that I'm loved, who's mad that I know what I know, who's mad that I have the success that I have, who's jealous of what I have, who's jealous of what I've done, who's jealous of the way that people connect with me. I get it. I understand human psychology, so I understand that there will be those people, and there are some people who are just so miserable in their own existence that they have to pick a target, and nobody's going to pick a target that nobody else pays attention to, so I volunteer for it. It's cool. I get it. I understand. But the reason that it doesn't stop me from getting behind this camera, the reason that it doesn't stop me from serving in this way is because my integrity, my core values, and my spiritual muscles have been built in such a way that your words don't hurt me. They have no power over me. They just don't. If it doesn't align with who God said I am, and if it doesn't align with who I believe I am, your words have no power over me. So when I see this stuff on the internet, when I see all of this heaviness, I'm an empath. So when it's heaviness like people being ill, when it's heaviness like world disaster, when it's heaviness like child abuse or elderly abuse, things like that, I feel that. When it's heaviness like civil abuse, right? Things that are happening that are just out of people's control, I feel that stuff. But when it's like people online being ignorant and gossiping and fighting and arguing back and forth in the comments and saying this, that, and the other and trying to tear me down, that stuff doesn't hold any weight with me. How do I sleep at night? Peacefully. I wake up maybe once in the middle of the night to pee. That's the only thing that's interrupting my sleep. Waking up to go use the bathroom. But these negative comments, these naysayers, these people who are here to attempt to destroy something that they have no power over, that doesn't bother me. I walk through my day. How do I get dressed in the morning? One leg at a time. I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like you. Negativity from other people directed at me holds no power over me in my life because I know who I am. I know why I'm here. I am aware of my purpose now. And it took me 30 plus years to become aware of my purpose. And my purpose continues to evolve because people sometimes mistake purpose for vehicles, right? People mistake their vehicle for their purpose when the vehicle is just there to get you as far as they can along the journey of you operating in purpose. But when that vehicle runs out of gas, when that vehicle runs out of power, when that vehicle's parts breaks down, you got to hop into another vehicle and stay on the same journey of purpose, but you got to use another vehicle. So that's why for me, it looked like at one point network marketing. That's why for me at one point, it looked like the music industry. That's why for me at one point, it looked like owning clothing stores and selling cars and selling real estate and property management and leasing apartments. That's why it looked like all those things for me because I'm on a journey of purpose. And purpose is not a destination. You are fulfilling purpose. You are fulfilling purpose until the day that you die. And then legacy now starts to continues that purpose. Legacy then kicks in and it continues that purpose. It continues. It stays. The work that Martin Luther King did, the work that Malcolm X did, they are still living in purpose. Still. Or existing in purpose for us, right? So there's that. All right. Let me see. How do you deal with copycats? I do not deal with copycats. I don't deal with copycats. I see y'all though. I be seeing y'all. Some of y'all copy real good. Some of y'all are good cats. And let me just say this. If you're going to copy a cat, if you're going to be a copycat, copy the right cat. I'm a good cat to copy. I'll leave it at that. I'm a good cat to copy. All right. I ain't mad at it. In order for someone to copy you, they have to be behind you. That just is what it is. You can't copy my steps in real time. You'll always be one funnel, one decision, one client, one accolade, one something behind me. This is just always how it's going to be, right? So if you're going to be a copycat, just make sure you're copying the right cat. I'm a good cat to copy. Unfortunate for you, most of what I know is in my brain. You can't duplicate that. Have fun. All right. What are your thoughts on choosing a niche or a specific mentor or a coach? Niche specific. So I feel like there is a time in your journey where having someone who is niche specific is important, right? But also you have to identify what your issues are. What are you struggling with? What are you challenged with right now in this season? And is that challenge niche specific? Some of y'all say niche, right? I say niche. Is that challenge niche specific? So if, let's say you're having, let's say you need a performance coach and your issue is your inability to stay on task. You're not feeling very motivated. You are falling behind. You are not completing tasks. You're just behind on a workload. You don't necessarily need a niche specific coach there. You could have a general performance coach who specializes in helping you increase your performance, right? But if you are looking to get your product in big box retailers, a general coach may not be able to help you with that, right? I might have some resources for that, but my specialty is not getting you in stores. If I am your coach, we'll find an expert who helps you get in stores and partner with them to help do that, right? So it really just depends on what your need is, and is your need niche specific? And that question came from, I don't know how to say this. I feel like this is Oxalicia. That's actually really pretty, if that's your name. The how do you deal with copycats question came from Entrepreneurial SLP. Okay. Cam23485, what are your best tips for raising a daughter? Oh. What are my best tips for raising a daughter? It's ghetto. Avoid at all costs. Choose a different path. I'm joking. I love my baby. I love my baby so much. My daughter is 22 years old now, and I believe her father and I have done an outstanding job with her. And I think this is a conversation that I want to tackle in a separate podcast episode, because I can talk the whole episode about raising a daughter. The one thing that I would say as a mother of a daughter, couple things. A mother of a daughter who looks just like me, has been mistaken to be my little sister for most of her life. The one thing that stands out for me in raising a daughter is encouraging her to become herself. Encouraging her to become herself. And this is important because I have an only child. My daughter she's my only child. She has little brothers with her from her father. But she's the oldest and she's the only child. And because she has been mistaken of being my sister, my little sister so much, for those of you who have siblings, you'll understand what I'm about to say. If you have an older sibling or you've been the older sibling, you know that the younger sibling for a while usually lives in the shadow of their older sibling, right? It just is what it is. When you're already in school, you've established yourself, you are who you are. And then here comes your little sister and you're constantly such and such's little sister. Oh, you're such and such's little sister and da 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 da. And what people don't realize is, even though it's cute sometimes in the beginning, as kids get older and older and older, they begin to resent being referred to and acknowledged by, or led into rooms and having doors open for them by being somebody's little sister. And they start to fight for their own identity. They start to fight to show the world and to prove to the world that I'm my own person. I have my own gifts. I have my own skills. I have my own talents. I have my own dreams. I have my own goals. Bringing this back full circle to having a daughter who looks just like me, and my only child. I can think of so many times when people run into her or run into us and they're like, oh, look at little Donnie. And when they're little, it's cute. But the older and older and older and older and older they get, they start to have that little sibling resentment for being little Donnie. And I noticed it in my own daughter. They say things like, you're going to be just like your mom. Or, are you going to be just like your mom? Are you as smart as your mom? Are you as this, and this as your mom? And so as a parent, I had to nip that in the bud. I had to nip it in the bud. I had to nip in the bud the comparison game that people played between my daughter and I, because she deserves to be her own person. She is her own person. My daughter is very, very different from me. She has absolutely no desire to be anything like me in terms of who I am professionally. She has a lot of my heart. She has a lot of my core values. She is kind. She is generous. She is outstanding. But professionally, she and I are very, very different. And the pressure that I see kids go through, not even just my own child, of owning up to a parent who does some great stuff, to a parent who has influence and impact, man, that pressure is enough to send them down a downward spiral. And if I can give you any advice, daughter or son, it would be to allow your kids to genuinely find themselves with a little encouragement, with a little nudge. If you're noticing that they are great in certain areas, give them a little nudge, right? Encourage them to try some things. But don't hold your kids up to be who you are. Don't hold your children up to the standard of being you, because nobody else is ever going to be you the way that you are you. I pray that my daughter is 10 times better than me or more. I pray that she does far greater things with her life than I did in my life. And I pray that she does those things at a much younger age than I did. I want so different for her. I want so many things to happen so differently for her than they did for me. I had to get it out of the mud, not because my parents put me in mud. I wasn't raised in mud. I played in the dirt myself. I made my own mud from a series of poor decisions, from a series of not learning, from a series of being a hardhead, from a series in life, a season in life of being a know-it-all. I had to figure things out for myself. Nobody could tell me anything, younger. And that's partially true. Like, the reason that I became a young adult where nobody could tell me anything is because I was a child doing what everybody told me to do. And when I say child, I mean even in high school. I went to college because of what everybody else told me to do. And I grew up suppressing much of what I really wanted to do for a long time. And it wasn't until my late 20s, when I was somebody's mom, when I was my daughter's mom, that I felt like, no, it's time for me to be my own person. It's time for me to put my foot down. It's time for me to have boundaries. It's time for me to say that even though I'm good at engineering, I don't want to be an engineer. I just don't. And you know what else? I know that I don't want to be an engineer, but I really don't know what I want to do. And you're going to have to be okay with that, because I'm okay with that. Like, I just kind of want to figure things out. I just kind of want to try all these things that y'all make me feel are impossible. I want to try it. I know it's expensive to open a brick and mortar store, but let me try. I know the music industry, only a small percentage of people make it, but let me try. I know sales is hard and commission is risky, and I really need a salary that I can depend on, but please just let me try. Let me try. And so because I learned that so late in life, I taught my daughter that as early as possible. Try whatever you want to try, as long as it's legal and ethical. Try it. All right. We got time for a couple more. What? What? Mina Monet says, can we speak on how it doesn't help telling Black women to not get pregnant and to avoid men altogether? Okay, there's more. Let's see if we can make understanding of this. For me, it didn't help me to discern what a good man looks like or how to truly carry myself around them once I got grown. It also doesn't help when boys are told to have fun and sow their seeds, yet we are taught how to be wives at a young age, get an education, be independent, help take care of the family, and so on. It causes an imbalance, and I notice our counterparts don't move the same way we do. Okay, I get what you're saying. So basically, Mina Monet is saying, can we stop telling Black girls, don't get pregnant? And can we stop telling them to avoid men altogether? Because that messaging for her didn't prepare her to ever be a mom. And it didn't prepare her to know how to deal with men and identify the good men and how to stay away from the ones that were not so great. So I think what she's trying to say is, can we spread a message instead of educating girls on how to be around men, how to carry yourself around boys at a young age, and how to be around men, and how to protect yourself from getting pregnant prematurely, right? Or too early, too soon, before marriage, before whatever, that goal is for you. I understand that, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, Mina, because I feel like I want somebody else here to have an actual conversation. I don't want to give you just my understanding on that. But I do agree with you that girls are taught the part about submission in the Bible to be submissive to their husbands. But I don't think enough men are taught the part where it talks about how men are supposed to be submissive, right? I don't think enough. First of all, I think everybody skips the part in the Bible where submission is reciprocal, is both ways. And I definitely think we can spend a lot more time teaching our boys to be submissive to God, right? To lean into his understanding, to lean for his direction so that they are worthy of being submissive too. And can we just start talking partnership and not submission? Because we get so tangled up in this word submission. If you go back and reference the Bible, submission goes both ways. But because that word has been taken so out of context, let's just talk partnership. Can we just be partners? Let's just be partners. All right, let's see. What is the best way to deal with burnout? And once you're dealt with burnout, how do you start over again? Okay. The best way to deal with burnout is to take a break. That's the best way. It's a step back for a minute, whether it's a couple of hours, couple of days, couple of weeks, whatever that looks like, and get to the bottom of what's causing you the burnout in the first place. You got to understand what's making you burned out so we can put a solution in place for that, so that at least for that reason, you don't get burned out again, right? Let's get some solutions in place for the things that you're clear may be burning you out. Oftentimes we are burned out because we are taking on more than what we can handle. Oftentimes we are burned out because we hadn't spent enough time sitting in our vision to get clarity on what we're supposed to be doing. And if we solve for those things, one, it'll prevent burnout. Sometimes we're burned out because we got vision, we have clarity, we have help, we have support. We're just tired. We're just exhausted. We hadn't taken a day off. We hadn't taken a vacation in years because we're so focused on goals and hitting the next, accolade or accomplishment or whatever that looks like. And to that, I'll say, just take a break. Take a break. Now, the next part of your question I want to touch on because it says, how do you start over again? You shouldn't have to start over. When you take a break from burnout, this is just a break. It's just that. It's a break. It's your time to relax. It's your time to reset. So maybe you are starting again, but you shouldn't be starting over. Okay? Let's do one more. Oh, and that question was from Creme de la Creme. And I'll take this last question. All right, this is one. Quality by Demand is asking, how do you know when to seek a financial advisor? And how do you find one regardless of what state you are in? I don't know if you mean by state like locally or state in terms of where you are in your business, but I believe that you should seek a financial advisor as early as possible. Like the moment that you have some money, and I'm not talking about a lot of money, the moment that you start receiving a paycheck and money to be advised on, you need a financial advisor. I think that we can save ourselves a lot of disparities if we know what to do with our money, whether it's a little or a lot, right out of the gate, right? And so for you, for that person, for some people, you may have a financial advisor that says, hey, here's how you create a budget off of your paycheck. Here's how we're going to create a budget. For some people, it's going to be like, here's how we create a budget, because you now have your paycheck that sustains your livelihood, but it also allows a little bit of surplus for you to start getting out of debt. So you have a financial advisor who is a debt relief specialist, right? Or a debt repair specialist that can help you there. Then there may be some of you who have a lot of abundance financially, and now you have a financial advisor that tells you how to protect that money, how to multiply that money, how to invest that money, right? So there are financial advisors at different levels, and I believe that we need one out of the gate. If we could have graduated high school with financial advisors, that's what we should have done, right? Certainly when we graduate college and start getting our first jobs, that's what we should have done. Like we should have at least had a conversation. And that's really important. Like at least have a conversation with a financial education specialist or a financial advisor and say, hey, listen, this is what my finances look like today. Can you at least set me on a track? Maybe I can't afford to pay you. Maybe I can't afford to keep you on retainer, but can I pay you for this consultation and you at least get me on a path to know what I should be doing with my money and give me some milestones. I need to check back with you when I'm in this position, when I'm in this position, and when I'm in this position. So there's a financial journey that I am on being guided by a financial advisor, even if I don't have a financial advisor on retainer. Did that make sense? Yeah? Okay, cool. All right. So there we go. With Q&A, if you are watching this episode, wherever you're watching this episode, clearly if you're watching it, you're watching it. If you heard this, you're watching it, right? There's a couple of things that I want you to do right now. The first thing that I want you to do is in the comments, if you're watching this on YouTube or you're watching it after the episode has dropped, in the comments, I want you to drop, to tell me, comment what stood out most for you about this episode. What question did I answer that resonated with you the most? What piece of advice did I give you that resonated with you the most? What stood out for you the most, right? The second thing, I want you to seriously consider, if you are an entrepreneur and you're serious about your goals, I want you to seriously consider aligning with me in mentorship or in coaching, whatever you're qualified for, right? So if you are a beginner getting started, you hadn't made six figures yet, you are more aligned for sure with my mentorship program, Actionable CEO. Go to actionableceo.com. It's $97 a month for us to be in a mentorship relationship, okay? And it's outstanding. Actionable CEO is an outstanding community, all right? If you are already generating consistent revenue, you are making at least six figures, and you're ready to figure out what that next level is for you and you want help getting there, I I will be opening my books to accept new clients in 2025. So that funnel is not necessarily available right now in this episode. We've not dropped that funnel yet, but go to my DM. Go to my DM and say, Donnie, let's work. Donnie, coach me, but be very direct about it. Like, I respond to most of my DMs. So when it be like, hey, I can't respond. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Come and tell me what you need, and then I can tell you how I can help you. All right. So do that. And if you're watching this right now in real time on Instagram and you are, you're ready for some mentorship. You're ready for your journey to personal development, professional development, financial development. Drop ACEO right here on Instagram. Drop the letters ACEO all together, ACEO, and you'll get a DM with the link to check out the Actionable CEO Mentorship Community right now, because you deserve to hit your next level. You deserve to be coached and mentored by the best. And what's better than me and you working together? What's better than me and you working together? What's better than me and you working together? All right. So this has been another outstanding episode of Full Transparency. I hope that this episode served you as well as it served me, because I needed this too. Thank y'all for these questions. We'll do this more often. If you want me to continue to do episodes like this, where it's just kind of like Donnie doing her own thing, answering some questions and going off on some tangents that are pretty valuable, let me know that you enjoyed this today, and we'll do more of these. I feel like I enjoy these more than I enjoy the guest interviews sometimes. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what y'all think. I'll let y'all figure it out. I'll see you next week on the next episode of Full Transparency.